Let's go!
So this is, by the way, this footage is coming from Blitz. Thank you for getting this. Congratulations for being one of the few to get into this. Actually, yes, this is indeed one of the few exclusive PlayStation next-gen games there is. This is one of the... There hasn't been many of them. I can probably count them on one hand as far as big releases. Only is next-gen. Is not coming out on PS4. Is not coming out on old Xboxes. This is a PlayStation 5 only game, you know, of this style, right? There were some other games outside of Demon's Souls. There was.
Welcome back to the stage of history.
What do you think?
Players will feel the weight of the gate via the adaptive triggers on the controller. What the hell? That's cute.
You're ready, Clive.
That's cute. Yeah, the devs did mention something about a PC version, but it's way later.
Did you hear that?
Unfortunately, yes.
Goddamn, the voice acting.
What? Good news, lads.
Give them all you've got, boys.
Clive could command the dog to attack enemies and shit? Wait a minute. You have like tack-ons? You can like tack on damage with fire? This is unfortunate because I can't see shit, man. This is unfortunate that the demo sequence takes place in the darkest room in recorded human history. Yeah, he has like Nero type stuff to him.
So, where to next?
It looks great, but I want to see something like in a field in the daytime.
This door only leads to more royalists. We'd better find another one.
Take your pick.
Oh, the dog will sniff out where you need to go. Okay.
Welcome back to the stage of history.
Bloody show off. Well, we found the Imperial garrison. Right where the Royalists left them.
This game's world does not have a daytime. Yeah, I feel like a lot of the promotional material, outside of them fighting a,
Damn it.
what was the one where they were in the swamp?
They're everywhere.
It was the very first gameplay trailer. So switching between styles, icon styles. Yeah, they were fighting like a Marlboro, but it was in like a very gray environment. Oh, shit. Oh, wait, so Garuda has the big suck? Like, she can, like, pull you in and stuff? Yeah, let me move my face for the UI. Let's put myself over here. Oh, this looks familiar. There's like a boss fight here from a trailer. And there he is.
Welcome back, Lord.
Party members will fight alongside Clive automatically and cannot be instructed. Interesting. Well, party members will come and go throughout something or other. Toga will always be there for the most part. Okay, so the dog stays with. Interesting that it's specifically a character action game, right? In the moments where, even in Devil May Cry 5, where you have, like you're using Nero and Dante's helping you out or something, you can't control them. In fact, they made those co-op missions in DMC5. But the dog has commands, right? The dog does do stuff. Stone, attack, Titanic block, so that's Titan. Oh, bottom left. Yeah, there's dog commands. Dog's on the D-pad. Cool. Cool. Dope. Hitting them while they're down, reducing an enemy's will gauge will stagger it. Extra damage is dealt. So it's Final Fantasy VII shit, or technically Final Fantasy 13 stuff. Wow, that's dope looking. Wow. You know what's exciting about this? Is that it, like Devil May Cry games, action games, even like Sekiro to the most part, right? They really ride the fact that you are upgrading your character, but they're not really like RPGs into stats and stuff like that. They're not. How crazy is it going to be if we get like a proper action game that is an RPG? That you can modify stats of, that you can go get things to buff out certain moves, that you can get weapons that actually, you know, that aren't just like, oh, you get a different weapon, it just does different things, you know? Like full-blown Devil May Cry, but they go insanely hard into the RPG element of it, where you can like customize and figure all that stuff out and all that shit. So Elden Ring? Yeah, I guess so, you know? That's pretty much Elden Ring, where they give you that many options. That's also Neo to a degree. Those are the things that make those games very replayable, you know? I just want there to be more things you can do, right? Give me a different way to play between one person to the next, where hopefully my loadout, my build will be different than my friends or something like that. God of War. Here's the only critical thing I have about God of War. No more. Your jumping attack has been increased 2%. Your life goes up. Your maximum vitality has increased 0.5%. Your fire attack damage goes up 3.8%. I'm like, I'm not picking any of this shit up anymore. I'm like, buddy, I'm gonna have to pick up 70 fucking things to actually notice a difference, dude. This is not, nothing should ever be under 15%, you know? No more 0.2% increases. I just don't want that shit. Plus 8 poison resistance. God fucking damn it. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Don't nickel and dime the upgrades. That was one thing that took me out of God of War, unfortunately, was that like they really nickel and dime you throughout a lot of that game. Ooh, let me go back and look at that. So how does the counter system work? Because this is a counter. Precision dodge. All right. Precision dodge and precision counter. Okay. So Garuda seems to cause stagger. Like a lot of stagger. I hate decimals. That's what I'm getting at. What the shit? Wow, we have an active reload combo finisher? Neat. Neat. It acts as like an active reload.
Never were one for half measures, were you, Benedicta? These poor sods didn't know what hit them.
This bitch sounds like Unicron in the Transformers movie. You got Orson Welles. They resurrected him to do the voice.
After them.
Yeah, I'll check out some other hands-on. We're gonna check on impressions from other folks after this. I just wanted to see like some sort of raw gameplay where I can come up with my own conclusions. So certain basic abilities such as burning and charging, as well as icon abilities such as Phoenix Rising Flames, can instantly break the opponent's guard. So those were like the follow-ups, it looked like.
Seems they were expected.
You don't say.
Yeah, and you know what? The visual clarity of this, even though we're at 4K, is not great. In fact, most of this footage looks like it was actually recorded at 1080p, but then uploaded at 4K, which is a common way of getting 1080p footage to look really good. I wonder, right? I actually wonder. It also could be the game doing some sort of in-scaling and stuff like that. It could be one of several things, right? Long story short, I think this will probably look much better. It's all the same footage? Okay. I think it's probably going to look much better in person. And that's kind of the issue between this platform of us using it, like watching games with this shit, is that they get Street Fighter 6 especially, shit gets stifled by the platform it's on. It looks so much better in person. So sick. He has like Nero's grab on Garuda specifically. I have not test played it, chat. I was not a part of this this preview. Hopefully when there's one again, I will. If anything, E3 is around the corner, so it'll probably be there. Damn. So satisfying. Fuck, dude. So in Phoenix mode, you literally get Nero rev mechanics, right? Watch every single time he hits, it looks like they're adding damage. Watch. Bink, 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 bink. Like you can add attacks. I'm gonna look over here to the bottom left to see if they're actually tacking fire on. He is. Yeah, he is. He's literally pressing it's like square Y, square Y, square Y to add on like a little bit of damage to here and there. And it probably buffs out, and it looks like it eventually ends in something big. You know, it might build up to something big. So sick, man. Long story short, it's chores, right? It's chores. You hate Max Act, it's too hard. It's tough. Yeah, yeah. It's not easy. Even when you play through a full playthrough, you're not going to get it reliably. But it feels amazing when you land it, though, right? Feels amazing when you land that shit, when you actually get a proper rev. This kid fucking bitch is flying. You get like 3 different versions, so it's like, oh, this is the normal one. Ooh, I got a little bit better one, and I got like the perfect frame. The bitch is like flying, and wow, I just did it really good. Holy shit, it's so worth it. And there's no reason not to do it. But yes, reliably doing that shit is really hard. They are close to being just frames.
Then Great Grieger must have plans for us.
Yeah, this is all looking very muddy, unfortunately. The sequences where we are in like really dark areas is looking really muddy. And I don't think it's the game, I think it's the footage.
What the hell happened here? A little late for prayer, isn't it?
Do I seem so desperate as to grovel at the feet of a false god? I was waiting for you.
Not for too long, I hope. All this for a midnight chat. Well, let's chat then. Where are the men and women you took from Lost Wing?
You mean where's the dominant? Well, you shall be requiring his services indefinitely. Come back to me, Sidolphus. I need you. Think of all the things we can create together. The world that we can build.
You need me? Your king needs me. I'm all for building a new world. Just not his. That bastard's dreams are as twisted as his promises are false. And I want no part of them.
Goddamn voice actor's amazing. Holy shit.
King Barnabas saved you, and this is how you speak of him. Have you no shred of loyalty?
What? To a leader who'd use me? Like he uses you.
You know nothing of me, Sidolphus.
You're right. I don't know who you are anymore. Or what you want. I only know what you used to say. That you were tired of running.
To the stage of history.
That you just wanted to be free. Free of it all. You weren't lying to me then, so what changed? What made you think you had to sacrifice who you were to get what you wanted?
Sacrifice. I use my talents to my advantage, and you would tell me there is shame in that?
If there's no shame, then why do you feel so sorry for yourself?
A rousing speech, Lord Commander. I was a fool to believe you might have
Welcome
changed.
back to the stage
The only
of
person
history.
I feel sorry for is you! I can't do this anymore.
Welcome back to the stage
If you would
of
stand
history.
between our leash and his dream, then you leave me no choice. Goodbye, Sidolphus.
Stand back, Clive.
Oh, Sid's an Icon too? Or a Dominant, whatever the hell they are? Okay, this is hype as shit.
Welcome back to the stage
Finish
of
them.
history.
Well, Sid. At least it's not 3 against 1.
Oh, fuck. Yeah, this... Set piece wise, this really is just a Devil May Cry game. We about to get like a 30-hour Devil May Cry game, dude.
Not this time. Sick of trouble.
So cool. They give you a lot of time on that one. The splashiest looking QTEs ever. Helmbreaker, of course. Oh, goddamn precision block. Might be a Titan thing.
She doesn't look happy, Toggle. Come on.
Oh, it's definitely an FF14 game as well. Jeez, man. Time to start running. Mechanics are kicking in. These two Garudas are actually the ads in the FF14 fight. That's really sick. Oh, the fuck! What? What? parry times 2? And it looks badass? Jeez, man. We're gonna make some moments out of this game, that's for sure. Oh, this is such a slick UI. Oh, this is such a slick presentation, man. Oh my god, dude. Fuck. Somebody give this guy a raise. whoever did this shit? Oh my god. Like the UX stuff is really cool.
Welcome back to the stage.
Yeah, this is some of that multi-million, like 50 to hundreds of millions of dollars budget UX experience. Hello, drugs. Hello, digital drugs.
Sid, are you all right?
Do I look all right? Benedict II will be on her way to collect the Dominant, if she hasn't already. You can't afford to let them leave. Remember, she has wings, you don't.
What about you?
Before or after I catch my breath?
Sorry. Come on, Torgal.
The cowbell.
I confess I expected more from the old man. And less from you. This is the second time you've bested my sisters. Men of your talents are rare indeed. Why cost your lot with such undesirables? If it is the hearth you long for, you will find more than enough warmth under my wings.
You know exactly what I want.
Fuck, the main character looks so cool.
And I'll leave you in peace.
You would dare to make demands of me. Know your place, little lamb. Fool is the shepherd who heeds every bleat of the flock. And I will suffer yours no longer. Must I spell it out for you, Branded? No one is listening.
Calm down, chat. Calm the hell down.
Come, little lamb, to the slaughter with you.
Shit. Shit.
Little lamb, to the slaughter with you.
Shit. God damn. Chat, calm down. All right? Calm down. Chill the fuck out. The Ring of Timely Focus temporarily slows time before an incoming attack. Bayonetta shit. Holy shit.
Not this time. There, boy. Flanks to me.
So dope.
Where is he? I won't ask again.
This shit is gripping.
Dodge this.
A Matrix reference? What the fuck? What the fuck? Suddenly a Matrix reference? What the shit?
Fucking dumb.
Did she kill the dog? Dog's okay. Okay, dog's okay. Don't worry, the dog's okay. Oh, badass! Oh, dude, this game's gonna be fucking amazing. We realize this is like the first time we're seeing actual gameplay, like real gameplay. Not just little snippets and trailers and stuff, like we're actually seeing real gameplay. Sick. Well, I just realized he has the Garuda ability already, so it's like this is a very demo-y thing, so you can get as much mechanics in as possible. You know?
Time to join my pet.
It's like an NG plus sort of situation. The name of the move is so dope.
Stay down.
What? My TV's on fire. Somebody help. My monitor's on fire. Get an extinguisher.
Don't touch me. Disgusting.
Wow, that's a big ass tornado. Crazy how many phases this fight has. It just kind of keeps going. Whoa, all right. There's some straight up Dante bullshit. Yeah, that's Drive, yeah. I wonder if there's a jump button in the game too. I don't know if I don't think we actually seen any regular jumps. Maybe not. Oh, it says jump on the bottom right. Okay, okay, okay. Yeah, his X should be jump, right? She's a nutsack. Wow, what the fuck? Wow, the dog's a wrestler.
That'll help.
Dude, the dog healed you. I love it. The dog gave you a potion, bro. Bro.
Get him, boy.
I'll kill you! I'll kill you both!
What? This never ends. Gambit counter, dude. Fucking Gambit counter. Oh, she dead as shit. The choir. The choir in the background does the victory theme. That's pretty great. That's pretty great. That's a nice touch.
You are but a branded! How? How did you do it? How did you even survive? How?
The answer is simple, Benedicta. He was fighting for something he believed in.
Shut up! Why aren't you dead?
We've played your games. Now tell me where he is.
Who? What are you?
Here's where you actually get Garuda.
Clive?
So the main character is Mega Man. Subscribe. So that it ends right there.
Wait! Clive, was that?
The Dominant. The man who killed my brother.
Are you absolutely certain?
I've seen him every night for the past 13 years. Watched as the flames of his Eikon took Joshua.
You know what I like about this? Right? You know what I like about this? They're almost taking the tonal perspective of like the Lord of the Rings movies. The way the characters deliver lines, the way that the tone of everything is portrayed is almost identical to like the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Just like that scene especially, like it clicked. I'm like, what is this feeling like? This isn't feeling like anything that I kind of like remember from previous Final Fantasies. Like, what is this feeling like? It feels like Loader, but Final Fantasy shit instead of J.R. Tolkien.
Waiting for this. Go! Sit!
Forgive me.
Oh, is this game entirely in English? And then subtitled in other languages? No.
Where did he go?
God damn, this looks amazing.
I'm not here for you, Garuda.
Wow. There's other dubs. Okay, okay, okay. Music. Wow, wow, wow! The entire environment's getting sucked away.
She's toying with me.
A lot of build here. Music's so good. It's funny. Right now JJ is playing Theater Rhythm, right? And all I'm doing is like hearing her play through the Final Fantasy XV catalog, and I'm just like, God damn, the music in this game. Like, I'm like, holy shit, the fucking music in this 15's music is goddamn incredible. I'm reminded by how fucking amazing 15's music was. And I'm just so excited that we get another like mainline Final Fantasy. It's so wonderful that like 7 remake, 15 and this, obviously games that just love their music, 14 as well, right? Games that love their music and will utilize it in gameplay, are not afraid to spend the extra time and budget to properly set up and utilize it in gameplay to amplify moments. 7 remake just blew my mind in that way. Goddamn, Garuda looks fierce.
Where is he? Where is the dominant? Not this time.
Jesus Christ, man. Is the whole game gonna be like this? Yes. Yes. Oh, and he actually missed the ender. Okay. There we go. Is she ever gonna stop? Never. Yeah, it feels like for the sake of the demo and using a bunch of cool moves that probably aren't in the game at this point. That's dope. What the hell? Fuck. Contextual event? If you use the Garuda ability? Huh. They did add one more line of dialogue there. Instead of using I mean, that's how I feel doing the move probably, but the double hold on. Double He really meant it. Those take a very long time, right? They give you a ton of time. I almost wish the QTE stuff was a little bit more interactive. I guess we're getting it right now. Ow. Ow. And that's the end. She died right there. Ow.
You're nothing. A monster. And I will not let you stand in my way!
Oh, this is cool. A Balrog of Morgoth. So now it's the crazy kaiju bullshit. Fuck yeah. Jesus, man. Yeah, he's pretty limited on what he can do. Lunge is huge, though. Lunge combo. I'd imagine Eikon abilities would possibly also be able to be expanded upon. One of the characters at the feel of a pro wrestling match. We wanted to feel like a WWE match. Holy dumb shit. Suddenly 90k damage. Interesting. Yeah, so most of the Eikon battles will not be the same. They'll all be different. In fact, the other ones might not even play out just like this. They might be completely different things. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case. This one is like the pro wrestling match one, right? Dope. We're taking you back to Earth. Oh, they actually confirmed that? Okay, so not everything's going to be like a wrestling match like this one. The other ones will be completely different things. Okay, that's a great idea. That's awesome. Oh, shit. Chat, chill, calm down. Oh my god, it's so fucking cool. So fucking cool. Just roaring in her face. Yeah, these are like very Asura's Wrathy kind of moments here, you know? Like the Eikon fights are almost like the victory lap. You know? It's like they're essentially the victory laps. Slain again. This game's gonna make so much goddamn money. This game's gonna make so much goddamn money. The day. Daytime. I don't believe it. It's daytime. I don't believe it.
Control it, Clive! It is you, isn't it, Clive? Stop this! Now!
What the shit? Are we not done? Santa.
I said stop!
And that is actually it, right? It seems like it's exactly what they were saying it's going to be, you know? It's a roller coaster. You know, and the game is going to be a roller coaster. To me, what this really comes across as is essentially a much more in-depth, a much better executed modern day take on something like Asura's Wrath, right? We're going to take Asura's Wrath and we're actually going to give it good combat. We're going to take Asura's Wrath on like its big giant scale and everything like that and big cinematic stuff that's amazing. We're going to take the things that are actually good about Asura's Wrath and hopefully leave out the things that suck. Because that's what I'm really getting out of all this, you know? It really feels like a lot of spectacle and all this stuff, but the problem with Asura's Wrath is that it lacked depth. And it even lacked depth outside of the big cinematics, right? All the QTEs you do and shit like that. When you weren't doing that and you're just running around brawling on in Asura's Wrath, it's really bad, man. It's super fucking simple. The nice part in this is that the brawling part is genuinely great. Like it's genuinely really cool, in-depth DMC ass looking gameplay and stuff like that. By the way, shout out to Scale Up for getting this preview. Thank you. Damn, the bit rate. Can we change that? Damn, we cannot. Okay.
That stuff when at all possible. If I can pay my own way to gameplay review. Time at Square Enix HQ began with a 1-hour presentation on the game from Yoshi-P himself, translated by Koji Fox. So as a Final Fantasy XIV fan, I was already fangirling pretty hard at that point. I then got to play 2 hours of the game divided into 3 sections. The first was a simple combat tutorial. The second was set in a castle where I was on the hunt for someone. That culminated in a pretty badass boss battle.
There's an interview in the end. All right.
Eikon.
Is this the part we want to see? 2750. All right. Let's check this out.
Here's how it went. Spoiler alert, not great. So I remember during Yoshi-P's presentation that he said the action game genre had advanced and was now the norm. So my first question to him was he implying that JRPGs hadn't advanced in the same way? I could tell immediately that he did not love the phrasing of that question. I could hear him mention the term JRPG over and over again, and I was kind of waiting for the translation from Koji Fox to come back. Koji said, quote, "One thing he wants to get across is that when we create games, we don't go into them thinking we are creating JRPGs. We are just creating RPGs. The term JRPG is used by Western media rather than users and media in Japan."
He's not wrong. You know, unfortunately, it is the case. It could just be the fact that JRPGs over the past, 20 something years to the heyday of JRPGs. So JRPG heyday, chat, was when I played them, the PlayStation 1. And I think that was the absolute golden era. The silver era was like the SNES. You know what I mean? And then right after that, the PS1 was just absolutely insane. Like, it was because we were not exposed to this genre as much. Like Final Fantasy VII kind of thrust what a JRPG is into the cultural zeitgeist at the time. And then there was a ton of other games that were of varying quality, but a lot of them were great. And the reason JRPGs were so valuable, I can tell you this without a doubt, the reason JRPGs were so valuable back in when they first started really showing up on the SNES and like being the identity that they are, the SNES and the PS1, the games held value more than other games because they took a long time to beat. They were big stories. The length of them was a big deal. This was back when the value of games could have been like, I'm spending $50 to $60 on something and I might be done with it in a night, And then suddenly your experiences are lasting 40 to 60 hours, potentially more. Final Fantasy VII on first playthrough, if you do everything, is like a 70-hour game or some shit. There's a lot of stuff you can do. So that was a huge value, right, to a lot of the games. I think what he's implying is that it's been 20 bitch-ass years, 20 plus, 25 years since that era. And possibly, varying degrees of quality, just like every other genre. But I think what he's getting at is like, just like anime, there's a lot of really good ones, and there's a lot of ones that really give it a bad rep type of shit that also have an audience. I think it's the same sort of vernacular that is being used already has a negative connotation associated with it. And the reason behind it is that, like this genre has now been around for so long and so many people have had their takes on what a JRPG is in anime that some of it, by describing something as being anime, right? And us, like we describe something as being anime, we're pretty much, it's a negative connotation, not in a good way, right? This game is anime as fuck, dude. And that is usually not to a degree that I am giving it a compliment. And that's only because I would not have said like this thing is anime as fuck like back in the early 2000s, just because there was so much more of it over the past 20 years. And a lot of it that gets like exposure, unfortunately isn't the really good stuff. And that's just the nature of the situation. There's so much of it now, and some of it can be so cheap that it's just the nature of the entertainment industry. So I get where he's coming from, right? I feel like it's almost a disservice to anybody that loves JRPGs. Like, I feel bad for Simmons and stuff like that really loves this shit, and people that do find the value in this stuff outside of its, like, somewhat and kind of like aggressive surface of huge tits and ass. Like, I get it, right? Even Nier Automata is unfortunately like an incredible experience that is absolutely guilty of that shit, right? So it's not, and it's sad that is the case. It's sad that is unfortunately just the way things have grown to be the way they are.
End quote. This made a lot of sense, of course, but we discussed a little more because I could tell that he wasn't comfortable with that term. And then he said something really fascinating. Quote, "This is going to depend on who you ask, but there was a time when this term first appeared 15 years ago, and for us as developers, the first time we heard it, it was like a discriminatory term, as though we were being made fun of for creating these games. And so for some developers, the term JRPG can be something that will maybe trigger bad..."
Final Fantasy 13. 100%. Yeah, 100%. That happened around Final Fantasy 13. And the reason that discriminatory term happened around that time, 13 was a very polarizing game, right? It was a game that not everybody liked.
Feelings because of what was in the past. It wasn't a compliment to a lot of developers in Japan. We understand that recently JRPG has better connotations and it's being used as a positive, but we still remember the time when it was being used as a negative, end quote. I was so stunned by this because I had never heard this before. To me, the term JRPG
I've never heard this before. I mean, I feel like if you're like in a bubble, like if you're really focused on it and it's like your thing, right? Yeah, I can see how it's like, no, I love JRPGs. Like, this is my thing. But from like an outsider's perspective, as somebody that definitely liked JRPGs, you know, around. I'm a definitely, what's it called? I'm a, what's the proper term? Not a weeb, not a dweeb, not a dredge. I am a hipster. I'm an old JRPG hipster, right? I'm a so that's my perspective, is that I've seen how it's like changed, you know, and my hipster ass impressions come from an era of which there was a lot of really high quality shit. To know that the negative connotation definitely kicked in, definitely was around Final Fantasy 13. It was right around that, and like a little bit Kingdom Hearts 2 and that kind of stuff, you know?
RPG was sort of as agnostic as ARPG or CRPG. It was a shorthand descriptor that summarized a set of characteristics associated with a certain type of RPG. The way we'd call Xenoblade a JRPG, but we wouldn't call Elden Ring a JRPG, despite the fact that they were both RPGs made in Japan.
Yeah, but one looks hella anime. Like in general.
But clearly, for Yoshi-P, this shorthand had a lot of baggage. Quote, I remember seeing something 15 years ago which was basically a definition of what a JRPG was versus a Western RPG, and it's kind of like Final Fantasy VII, and it has this type of graphics, this length of story, and compartmentalizing what we were creating into a JRPG box. And I took offense to that because that's not how we go into creating. We were going in to create an RPG, but to be compartmentalized, we felt that was discriminatory.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, in the same way that like the tone. This is a really interesting conversation, because as somebody that's like was there at one point and then not there anymore, and I'm super on board with the new stuff they're doing. Final Fantasy VII was essentially the thing to bring JRPGs/RPGs to like a light, right? To pretty much shoot it into perspective immediately. So now everybody's kind of into this shit if you played it, right? So FF7 was the game to do that. And it's not that FF7 doesn't have like these anime isms to it. It 100% does. Like, and even FF7 Remake does. But it felt like FF7 Remake was even trying to combat that in a lot of ways. Where FF7 Remake was even a game that was taking its dialogue and stuff like that very seriously, like extremely seriously. Where it didn't really feel like it fell into the same problems like a lot of other like JRPGs that some people might consider have those issues. So I don't know. It's anime out the wazoo, 100%. Especially OG FF7 is anime as hell. And I feel like that's something they were trying to tackle in 7 Remake, at least to a small degree, you know?
End quote. So fascinating, right? That is one of the most successful RPG makers of all time, working in the company that basically invented the JRPG as we refer to it today, saying that the term JRPG...
Animisms like what? Weird dialogue, weird character acting, just funky story things that might not translate well. You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Like for example, most of the other Square Enix games that have English dub, the characters are just so weird. They just don't make any sense, and it's just weird and funky. And it's like, what the hell, man? Are these even people? And we usually use the term to describe them as weird anime robots, right? And that's now like the common term that I use, where it's like the characters in this game are just weird anime robots. Like, I don't get it.
It was kind of offensive. That was such an eye-opening exchange.
Crisis Core, thank you. Jesus. Crisis Core, for God's sake. Dilly-dally, shilly-shally, all this weird shit, man.
Anyway, I think this speaks to Yoshi-P's desire to not have his games be put in narrowly defined boxes. Final Fantasy XIV is a really good example of that, with its very unique spin on the MMORPG formula. Final Fantasy XVI is clearly another, with its move to real-time combat. I asked Yoshi-P about that move and why he felt it was necessary. Quote, traveling around the world, speaking with fans and media about their image of the franchise, they would always give the same answer, that it's turn-based, that it's anime-like, these teenagers saving the world, very JRPG.
And those are tropes, right? And that 100%. The problem is it was just done so much. The issue is that it was essentially a trap, right? Where we have been essentially put into, or these games have been put into this thing that, so we're just going to hit all the same notes. Are we going to have the goddamn beach episode eventually? Is that going to happen too? Like that kind of shit, right? So they just want to get away from that. They just want things to not have to fall into these elements that are featuring like all this other stuff that kind of does the same shit over and over and over again. Yeah, I get it, right? I get it. It's just funny that it's coming from Square Enix, the company that essentially popularized it, right? But it also makes sense that they're changing, right? The company themselves are essentially changing because you have the other games that embrace it, that literally like embrace that shit, and they sort of like still love and embrace it, which is Persona, like Atlas games and stuff like that. Persona games embrace that, and they go full force into it, and they're almost unapologetic about it, which is fine, because should they not exist? No. The difference is that Square Enix and its pretty much its culture as of right now wants to move past that. They have other interests, is what it seems.
In inverted commas, this was the image for all of Final Fantasy. This was turning off some players because they thought it could only be that, and that was a reason to not get into it.
Yeah.
On top of that, you have a generation of new gamers who were raised on first-person shooters and games like Grand Theft Auto, where input is always direct. For those players, the thought of having to wait before you act is kind of a disconnect for that young generation. So with our goal to expand the series and broaden the audience, bring back players but also welcome new players, we realized that we had to evolve the series and change it up from what people expected.
This is the exact same shit with fighting games, chat. This is the same shit. Remember that stuff I was telling you about Guilty Gear Strive when it came out? I'm like, when we were playing it early, I'm like, this game's going to be a lot different than previous Guilty Gears from our early impressions. I'm like, they're kind of Street Fighter 5ing it in a lot of ways. But here's the thing. It's we were already predicting it was going to be successful, because the trade-off is this. The trade-off is that you are going to essentially sacrifice, right? You're going to like ritualistically sacrifice a small percentage of your audience that is super hardcore. And this is the nature of expanding and moving forward, right? That some of those are just not going to like this shit. They're going to be gone. But the new game, with its new design philosophy, with the way it's presenting itself, is going to bring in another audience that is even bigger than before, right? So that is the ultimate trade-off. That when you move forward, you essentially are leaving behind some of those really hardcore old fans and bringing in new fans, and hopefully not completely alienating everyone across the way, you know? And this is the exact same thing in fighting games, right? Where when fighting games change, that is the risk-reward situation. Does it always work? It does not. It does not. It does have elements, or does have moments in certain games where elements just don't collide correctly, and people do neither people on one side or the other are happy, which is really bad. So that is kind of an issue. But ultimately, it's the mindset of these developers when they're moving forward with stuff. Because if there's one thing I can tell you, if there's one thing that's true for a lot of devs, at least at the high level, they don't just like making the same shit over and over again. That it's stifling for creativity. You have to realize ultimately at the end of it, this isn't like corporate executives are making the game. These are artists, right? These are people that want to craft new experience, that want new experiences. They want to make new shit. They don't want to be stuck in the same, isms and the same sort of like connotations that previous things are done, and have to like hit that shit. They want to make new things that will entice people in ways than before. The funniest thing is that the answer to that is to make an Asura's Wrath game.
End quote. Again, I found this so interesting to know that Grand Theft Auto has directly influenced Final Fantasy XVI, but also because it implies that he doesn't think the innovations present in Final Fantasy VII were enough to shift people's perceptions of what this franchise is or could be. My final question to him was, what would you like people to say about this game 5 years from now, both as a standalone experience and as part of the Final Fantasy franchise? Quote, what I want is for players to say, wow, that it blew them away. WoW can be perceived in different ways. WoW because of story. WoW because of lots of crazy boss battles. WoW because whoever made this must have been out of their minds. What we want is for players to have that sense of WoW. As for its place within the franchise, hopefully through Final Fantasy XVI, we can kind of regain that sense of the Final Fantasy series is a must-buy.
Yeah, that's just Yoshi-P being an innovator, That's just Yoshi-P. In the genres that he has had impact on, at least when he's in charge, that's just him. I want to make something that has an impact, right? This is actual innovators of the industry, This is why his name is up there with the Kojimas, with the Nomuras, with the what's the other dev on, with even like the Haradas and stuff like that, right? The Japanese devs that are like the legends at this point, that the Sudas, the Miyamotos, yes, thank you. Sakurai, that's the one I was trying to think of. They're up there, and they're just kind of thought of in the same regard.
You must check this out. Something that we don't have now.
Miyazaki,
we can return to
yeah.
the idea that when a Final Fantasy comes out, it is something that we must play, end quote. I thought that was fascinating because personally, I think Final Fantasy is a must play, especially after 7 Remake. But obviously, Yoshi-P doesn't agree, and I think a lot of the big, bold plays that we're seeing here in 16 can be explained by this hunger that Yoshi-P has.
This game is going to be very divisive amongst the core Final Fantasy fan base. Dude, they said we're just living the same shit again. They said the same thing about FF15, right? They all said the same thing about Final Fantasy 15. And the game ended up being one of the best-selling Final Fantasies ever. So that clearly worked. Clearly. FF15 sold better than 7 Remake, for fuck's sake. Like, what do you want? You know?
He doesn't see Final Fantasy as the preeminent RPG franchise with a lot of incumbency, something guaranteed success or entitled to your dollars or playtime. He sees it as something kind of aging, fossilized in the minds of players, a little bit outdated compared to contemporary offerings. And he's not happy with that. That is why there are no sacred cows, whether it's the narrative tone or the technology they're using or gameplay. Everything is on the table for Yoshi-P and his team. Will long-standing fans of the Final Fantasy franchise agree with his assessment and his interventions? That remains to be seen. But
a good chunk will not, right? A good chunk will not. That'll make up in the fact that a lot of new people will.